I learned something that will change your life. And this is something I learned from Hypixel Skyblock. And my plan from the beginning actually was to make a lot of money from Hypixel Skyblock, like real life money. And I thought that I could make a lot of money in the game, and then I could sell that money for in-person coins to like Discord people who were, looking back, kind of sketchy. And I actually didn't end up going through with that at all. But it did make me rich in a way that you wouldn't think, or at least it's going to. And so I started out, for those people who don't know, Hypixel Skyblock is a game where it's like an economy, and you can grind certain goods like mining, and you can get armor that makes you mine better, and you can buy and sell goods, and you can kill monsters for goods and all sorts of stuff. But for me, at first, I did all that stuff, but eventually I realized that the best way to make money was to let my money make money. Or it's all called coins in Hypixel Skyblock, so to use my coins to make more coins without actually putting in any effort. And so that is called investing. And you might think you know where this is going, but I can assure you that you don't. And so I learned, what investing was and all that. And I realized that basically the easiest way to do it is to buy products and to leverage time. So you buy certain products in a buy offer, and what that means is that you wait and it fills up whenever people want to sell, so they can just click sell instantly and they sell it to me. And then I sell it in a sell offer, which means they click buy instantly and I sell it from them. And every time that exchange happens, I make, a tiny amount of coins, but you can do it with like thousands or millions of items, or sometimes you can do it with items that are really expensive, so you make a lot of coins. And this strategy was so broken because, first of all, it was easy. You didn't have to be mining or, even worse, fighting. You could literally just be passively sitting there. And also, it was so profitable because your money growed exponentially. So every time that I made, let's just say 10 coins, even though realistically it was hundreds of millions, eventually it was billions of coins. But every time that you made 10 coins, you would make coins that much faster. So if I had 10 coins, then I'd make 1 coin an hour. If I had 20 coins, I'd make 2 coins an hour. So you can see how every time you add, that makes your income even faster. So that's called exponential growth. And, I made billions of coins, like 4 billion coins, which is worth thousands of dollars in real life money. And my idea was to sell it and to, be rich, or at least rich for a middle schooler or a 9th grader when I think I hit 4 bill in 9th grade. But I realized it was harder to sell those coins than I originally thought. But around the same time, I got a job. And, at the end of the summer of 8th grade, I had left my job because it was time for the school year. And, I had a couple $1,000s. And I realized, what's the best way? Because, at first I was like, oh, let me just buy some cool stuff. Like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And I bought stuff, but I realized it was actually a lot of money. It was like thousands of dollars. And so I didn't know if I just wanted to spend all that money or if I wanted to save it. And I was like asking people how to save my money. I asked my parents and they kind of explained it to me about like a savings account and whatever. But I kind of put 2 and 2 together since I was playing a lot of Skyblock at the time. And I was like, if coins can make coins, can't money make money? So, I asked a trusty friend that we all have called Google, and it turns out that, funnily enough, money can make money. And so I started investing. But that's not the end of the story, because I'm sure people drew that conclusion when I first said that you can invest in Skyblock. But what I realized is that you can invest in, the stock market. But I realized a key difference. In Skyblock, you're using time. So you're making people's ease of passing money. But in real life, you're using time in a different way, because you're just buying something and letting it get more valuable, at least in stocks. But I got deeper into investing. I researched real estate and monthly payments and how that could potentially earn more or less money than stocks. Overall, I actually do like real estate, but I'm still not personally decided on whether I'm ever going to get into real estate. But I realized that the nuance in Skyblock can be applied to real life money. Buying things and then selling them efficiently. And there's another thing that they do in Skyblock called lowballing, which is buying things and then buying things for cheap from people who want to sell them fast, and then selling them for expensive from people who want to buy them fast. And it's the same exact thing, but for items that can't go on the bazaar, which is like the store. So you do it as a trade. And I realized what lowballing is. And I talked to some friends, and I kind of was just trying to apply this. And I was like, realistically, start out with $1,000, lowball some stuff. You can probably make some pretty good money. And, it turns out I was right. And I didn't really realize that I was starting a business at the time, but I definitely was. And so eventually $1,000 turned into a couple and, kept going. So me and my friends actually made some pretty good money off of lowballing. Granted, this is a lot harder in real life because you can't just walk around with stuff in your inventory. And so, you need a car, or you need some type of transportation or something. And you need certain systems and ways to do things. But I think that this is a really cool idea for people to explore, because it uses the one thing that most people don't have enough of in their life to make money, which is time. And it uses it in a more inventive way, and it's definitely a higher return on investment than stocks. Though stocks is definitely easier to do because you just let your money sit there. So I think that everybody should be investing. Most people, stocks and real estate is the way to go. I found a really cool business thing with lowballing, and I think that, anyone can do any one of these things. You should just start, and you should just pick something. Don't go all in on it. Probably if it was lowballing, I only started out with a fraction of the money I had, because I had other jobs, so this was only a small fraction of the money I had at the time. I wasn't bathing in money, but I had some investments already. And once you start investing, I think you'll never stop. And I think that that's a great thing. And I also think that eventually you'll realize that money is there to be spent at the end of the day. And so definitely develop a healthy balance of investing and spending, and plan ahead, track your finances. I know a lot of people are just starting to earn their first money and they don't know a lot about this. So I want to bring more awareness to this topic in general and share my story. So let me know if you guys liked the story, or if you guys would rather something else. But have a nice day. Thanks for listening.